Good afternoon, good morning. This is Mark Johnson from Loyalty 360. Hope everyone's happy, safe, and healthy today. I want to welcome you back to our ongoing series in our Customer Loyalty Thought Leadership series. In this series, we talk to the brand leaders that are on the front lines of customer channel and brand loyalty about what they're seeing, what they're hearing, what they're doing to promote customer centricity, but most importantly, customer loyalty within their organizations. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Andy Rebhun, who's the Vice President of Digital for El Pollo Loco, in which they offer kind of a unique cadre of chicken-based grilled options, right? And they have over 480 locations across the U.S. So looking forward to the discussion. Andy, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks, Mark, for having me on today. Really glad to be here with you.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. First off, for those who may not know about El Pollo Loco, can you give us a little bit of information about the brand, what you guys do, how you do it? It'd be great to know that.
You planted the seed, I think, very, very well. We're a LA Mex fast casual chain. Headquarters are based in Southern California and Costa Mesa. And we have 483 restaurants in 6 states, California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, Texas, and one Lone Ranger in Louisiana. And, we call our food Mexican, LA Mex type based cuisine, known for our fire grilled chicken. It's a 55-minute cook process. It's delicious. And next time you're out in LA, El Pollo Loco on me.
Oh, sounds like a plan. I always look some healthy kind of chicken-based products. I'm always interested in that. So that take you up on that for sure. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your role with the organization, and kind of what you do?
Yeah, so I'm the Vice President of Digital at El Pollo Loco. I've been in this role for about a year. Prior to this, I was at McDonald's for 6 years, and before that, I was at Ford Motor Company for 5 years. So a variety of consumer marketing, product marketing, field marketing roles. And in this role at El Pollo Loco, I handle pretty much everything digital. So our loyalty program, Loco Rewards, which has been in existence for about 3.5 years. Our off-premise delivery model, which essentially we have partnerships with our 4 major delivery providers in the US, DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, and Postmates. And then last but not least, handle pretty much everything from an e-commerce and social media perspective.
Okay. A quick follow-up question on that. You said you have relationships with all 4. Well, what's the rationale, reasoning behind kind of all 4, not having geographic distribution, or there's some benefits to others, or why work with all 4 of them? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I think, for one, there's varying commission rates amongst the 4. And so obviously with commission, it's a different type of situation based off of each of those individual providers. And then the second thing is it really enables your brand to cast a wider net, which essentially people are pretty agnostic relative to these off-premise delivery provider solutions. So typically if you see a customer, they typically stay with 1 or 2 different programs. So by offering El Pollo Loco on the 4 different platforms, it enables us to kind of cast that wider net and speak to the different consumers in the different places.
So you're kind of leveraging their brand affinity that they may have, right? Obviously, you want to increase your brand loyalty, brand affinity, kind of the opportunity. And if someone has a propensity to use a DoorDash or Uber Eats more frequently, you want to make sure that you're being able to get in front of those eyeballs in all situations.
You nailed it. Spot on. And I think, one of the obvious and interesting things too is, and you mentioned this earlier, is you kind of have different geographic distribution as well. And so we're aware of the fact that, in Southern California specifically, DoorDash is really the industry share leader. So for us, DoorDash is our strongest. And then depending on where the customers are, there's differing variety of share based off of different cities in California and the other places we do business.
Okay, great. Customer loyalty. It's something we love to ask the people we interview what it means to them, how they define it. And obviously, I think with your unique background, being at Ford and being at McDonald's and now where you are today, can you define that for us? We'd love to hear that. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to El Pollo Loco and you as well?
For me specifically, it's giving the customer an ability to really have an emotional connection with the brand. And I think, we're in a space that's highly competitive. What's interesting about both McDonald's and El Pollo Loco is you're essentially fighting for share of wallet. It's a decision that consumers have to make on a daily basis, what they want to eat. And I think, given that there's so much healthy competition out there, being able to be top of mind as part of that consideration set is of the utmost importance to me. And obviously, by loyalty, we mean, engaging in our emails, engaging in our digital content, our digital presence, transacting with us on a regular basis. One of the fascinating things with my transition from, Ford to McDonald's is Ford is one of those companies where you buy a car, every 3, 5, 10 years. It's one of the biggest purchases you're going to make in your life. And so it's a really long decision. Whereas McDonald's and El Pollo Loco, it's one of those things where sometimes people will decide, the night before. They're doing a big catering meal. It might be a week before, but essentially the cost of entry and the price point is a lot more competitive because it's very spur of the moment. It's very reactional in nature. And so loyalty to me is really having that emotional connection with the consumer and the ability to transact and engage with them on multiple levels.
Okay. So Local Rewards, been around for about 3.5 years. You guys have made some recent enhancements to it. Can you tell us about how the program works, kind of some changes, enhancements you have of the program and kind of what you think of the program?
So a couple of things. So first off, we made some enhancements relative to the sign-up offer. So essentially the sign-up offer, which was more or less a sign-up offer for the last 1.5 years, you originally got a free original Pollo Bowl after your first purchase. One of the things we realized was this was something that customers were signing up for, but lots of times, they weren't finishing. They weren't essentially getting that reward, making that first purchase. So they were essentially interested in the fact that they wanted to join the program, but not ultimately completing that purchase to get that reward. So what we decided to do was change the immediacy function of that reward. So we gave customers now a free chips and guac immediately upon sign up. It doesn't require purchase, and it's something that gets to them immediately. We're seeing a much higher conversion rate of that new sign up offer, which is great. The second big thing we did is we changed the rewards currency relative to how much it takes to get a reward. And so initially we had you spend $100, you get a $10 reward. And now it's you spend $50, you get a $5 reward. So based off of looking at the customer purchase history and customer purchase data, we realized that it was taking customers quite a long time to get a reward. And one of the things we wanted to do is increase that immediacy, increase that frequency. And we're now proud to say we have the fastest cash rewards program in the industry, which is pretty impressive because essentially the consumers were telling us they wanted to be able to earn rewards quicker at a better conversion rate, and we were able to do that.
Okay, and when you look at the industry, how do you kind of substantiate that you have the fastest kind of conversion rate there? Do you look at other do you survey all of the restaurants or kind of where?
So we looked at the top 200 restaurant chains according to NRN, and obviously working closely with my partners in legal, we were able to substantiate that claim, with our fastest cash reward earn in the program.
Okay, great. So what are some of your goals for the customer loyalty program going forward? How are you measuring defining success? How do you look at the competitive landscape? Where do you see the program going forward?
First, obviously, this isn't a self journey. We have an incredible team at El Pollo Loco, and so first things first is we work collaboratively. So I have a partner in IT, I have a partner in operations, finance, training. I mean, we want to cast a wider net with this program and obviously make it profitable for our company and obviously make it engaging and exciting for our consumers moving forward. And so for us, obviously there's a couple big things that we like to focus on. Number one is acquisition. It's a very competitive space, like I spoke about earlier. And for me, it's definitely important, to make sure that we differentiate ourselves. And working closely with my partners at the agency and internally, we need to make sure that customers take us as being serious players, top of mind, et cetera. So number one, I would say, is acquisition. Number two is increasing the participation rate. So to us, participation is defined as total loyalty transactions divided by total transactions in the business. And so for us right now, our participation rate is anywhere between 10 to 12%. We're looking to get that up in the 15 to 20% range. You see a lot of QSRs that have high amounts just based off of the type of occasion. Typically, like coffee chains, beverage chains have much higher participation rate. I'd say we're in line right now with the industry standard, but we're looking to increase that. And then last but not least is obviously continuing to adapt our model to really be customer forward, customer centric. And so There's lots of terms thrown around where people get oohs and ahs, and we're starting to experiment with AI with our loyalty program, really trying to use machines and data to really define how we think customers are going to redeem different offers. Obviously, continuing to modernize the experience, making sure it's easy for our consumers to utilize. And ultimately, we want to deliver for our restaurants. So to me, if a crew member or a restaurant employee is able to explain the app with ease and able to interact with the customer without having any issues or providing any operational difficulties, to me, that's success.
Okay, great. So what's the biggest challenge you face as a senior level marketer today with kind of the digital properties you manage? And then do you see that kind of challenge that changed a little bit coming through COVID? And do you see it changes going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge is just maintaining relevancy and making sure you're top of mind. I think there's lots and lots of competition in digital, and I think every single week you're seeing a different restaurant chain come out with something innovative. And obviously, you want to be able to make noise in the space, but do it in a way that's not, causing havoc, causing stress at the restaurant level, and making sure that everybody kind of buys into the ultimate result and strategy. So for me as a marketer, it's obviously just making sure we're consistent with our strategy, being confident in our ability to execute, and just making sure we're continuously staying top of mind and top of relevancy. There's so much noise in the space right now. It's very hyper competitive, whether it be free delivery or double points or a certain offer on a specific product. I think you're always seeing restaurants trying to, be top of mind to the consumers.
Were there or are there any challenges with regard to kind of selling that into the franchisee network, especially when you make changes, right? Because the most important thing for the franchisee or franchisor is they want to make sure they're knocking it out of the park, right? From a customer service delivery perspective, they don't necessarily want to market the program, right? They obviously want the employees to be bought in, but were there any challenges with regard, or are the franchisees are they bought into the program?
We have a great franchisee network at El Pollo Loco. We're very lucky, regularly consult with this group, whether it be we have new ideas, we have new offers we want to try. They're a very active part of the process. And so for us, making sure that they have a seat at the table to make sure we're staying relevant, making sure it's easy for the restaurants. I'm not going to lie. I mean, there's obviously times where we do certain offers or we want to do things and it causes a little stress at the restaurant level, but we learn and we fail quickly and we adapt. And that's one of the things I'd say very, very proud of, because when we make missteps, we correct it, we rectify it quickly, and then we move forward.
Okay. What about corporate social responsibility? Is that something that's a big push or a big area of interest for your restaurant? I know it's becoming more and more prevalent in the service, hospitality, restaurant kind of environment, QSR, fast casual. How are you looking at corporate social responsibility, and kind of what does that mean to your organization?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different layers to that question. So number one, from a corporate responsibility standpoint, I think for us, it's obviously being active and engaged in the communities in which we do business. We have an event right now for Hispanic Heritage Month called EPL Grants, and essentially what we've done is we've donated $100,000 to a GoFundMe webpage. And it's really trying to help the Latinx communities in the places that we do business, to really help them through the pandemic. Obviously, they're one of the hardest hit groups. We've partnered with a group called We Are Latina, and it's essentially an opportunity for us to say we care, we want to help these businesses who are struggling immensely during the pandemic. And it gives our consumers and our customers an opportunity to donate as well. So like I said, it's GoFundMe.com/EPL Grants. And it's very impactful. It's just a great way for us to continue the message that we always evoke from our brand and our creative standpoint, to just be relevant in the community that we do business. I think the other big thing is obviously making sure that our employees are recognized given the current times that we're in. So we have an award that goes out on a regular basis. It's honestly a weekly award. It's called Pollo Hero Award. And essentially we've done that throughout the pandemic. And it's something that is very, very highly regarded within the organization. And it's something that we make sure our employees feel that they're appreciated. It's something that the CEO personally responds to that individual. You kind of see it. It's like one of the highlights of every single week for me. And it really gives an opportunity for people who we know work tirelessly every single day to shine in our organization.
That's awesome. When you look at kind of personalization, obviously very important. You talked about how uber competitive it is right now within kind of the QSR fast casual arena. COVID has changed the kind of environment significantly for a number of people. So when you look at personalization, what does personalization mean to you and kind of your digital strategies and engagement applications that you have?
Personalization is extremely important. And I'll tell you, about a year ago, we as a brand did not have the degree of personalization that should have been necessary for us to kind of move forward with the business. So, obviously partnering closely with my partners in IT and operations, this was something that we really, really took a deep dive into, made sure that we were doing things that weren't mass offers anymore. So really highly segmented. Our segments are anywhere from family to value to frequency of visit to transacting mode. So like if they came in the drive-through, if it was front counter, if it was a mobile order, really making sure that we were speaking to that customer and really understanding how they're transacting with our brand, what their behaviors are, what success looks like. Do they have a 90, 180, 365-day lapse rate? So for us, again, really looking at email open rates, really understanding if they're converting on the offers that we're serving them, and really trying to make sure that we're speaking to them and their purchase habits as a consumer. Before, I would say that the program went through a period where it was very highly focused on discounting. And now we're really focused on profitable transactions, engaging transactions, and making sure our consumers are coming in more frequently.
Okay. When you look at the communication, you just kind of talked about obviously coming out of personalization, digital strategies, the app, the loyalty program, how are you managing these disparate communications based on some of the segmentation work that you've done, looking at kind of engaging profitable customers, but also, realizing that you may have to do things a little differently, right? Kind of how you package things up, kind of comfort level with customers. How do you kind of manage some of the communications in light of kind of the rapid disruption we're seeing today?
I think it's obviously being consistent and listening to the customers. One of the things we did as a brand is we called our top 50 customers in our loyalty database and really tried to understand what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, where we may need to pivot. And, when you keep your ear to the ground and really listen to your consumers, you're really able to adapt quite rapidly. It's funny. I think sometimes, you'll sit in a restaurant or you'll look at the data and it'll give you some sort of guidance relative to where you think you should go as a brand. But I think ultimately, really trying to understand your consumer and where their head is at with your brand is very important. And, early on during COVID, a couple of the things we heard is, we want El Pollo Loco to be available via curbside. We want to have a contactless option. Very similar to seeing what a lot of the other restaurant chains are doing. We were able to accelerate very quickly as a team. Today is officially our national media launch for curbside pickup. We were able to effectively get curbside out in about 6 weeks. So again, finance, operations, IT, training, entire departments just really, really partnering together very well to get that delivered very fast. We had a 6-week pilot, 21 restaurants, and then ultimately we're able to get all restaurants in our system. We're about 95% of our system is launched at this point with curbside pickup.
Okay. What do you think? Well, congratulations on getting that launched. And I know that's been a big challenge for a lot of our members. We meet probably 2 to 4 times a month with brands, kind of all over restaurant, retail, and they bring up different topics. It allows kind of the groups to kind of converse. And that's a big thing is how do you make some of those changes, right? Some things that like a Vitamin Shop did and Famous Footwear and others. So it's great to hear that you were able to make that transition so rapidly as well. That's great.
Thank you.
What do you think the next big thing for customer experience or customer loyalty is?
I think I kind of planted the seed a little bit earlier, but I think artificial intelligence. I mean, you hear about it in so many other industries. Think about the way you as a consumer interact with some of the bigger brands today, like Netflix or Amazon. And think about the fact that sometimes your next Netflix show or movie that you watch is something that wasn't even recommended by a human. It's based off of machine learning. It's based off of the way that they think you will like a certain, TV show or movie. And same thing goes with Amazon. Based off of your purchase history, their algorithm is able to recommend, are you going to buy this or are you going to buy that? For us as a brand and for El Pollo Loco, I think it's really tapping into that machine learning and understanding of how much discount should you provide to a consumer? How many offers should you provide them? How long is that offer valid for in terms of frequency? What do you think their customer lifetime value is? What is the expected churn of that customer? So again, lots of times you can do this with an Excel file as a human being. It takes lots and lots of iterations, I think, to get it right. But if you're able to pour massive amounts of data into a machine and have them spit out, what the specific recommendation is, I think it's something that brands are going to have to adopt quickly if they want to be a part of the conversation.
Okay. You kind of touched on a little bit. Obviously, there's more data than ever before. First party, zero party, third party changes. And you're at the kind of the fulcrum of some of the privacy discussions with CCPA and others. How do you kind of address the disparate challenges you're seeing around data, right? To create some simplicity, to create actionability. As there's more and more data, you need more AI and ML type tools. How are you looking at kind of the bigger picture data discussion?
Yeah, obviously you mentioned CCPA, and as a brand, we're obviously CCPA compliant being in California. We get quite a few of those requests each week to have, data and or information deleted. And we realize it's a part of doing business moving forward. I would just say that, within our realm of our loyalty provider, we use Punch. They also are very compliant with CCPA to the utmost standards. And for us, it's, making sure that the data and the information stays within the realm of our purview and our scope, and making sure that we use it responsibly, and making sure ultimately, it benefits the consumer at the end of the day. We're really trying to, make sure we do right by the consumer, and making sure that, whether it be contacting them, how often they want to be contacted, or serving them the offers, like I said earlier, that we want them to receive. Ultimately, it's the ball's in the consumer's court.
Okay. And when you look at zero party data, are you guys doing anything with zero party data, survey data, kind of to help personalization efforts? Is that something that you guys have kind of started to look at?
Yeah, we do. And we do that survey data through our app. Punch offers a service. It's through Typeform, and essentially we're able to survey our loyalty members on a fairly regular basis. Lots of times when we come out with newer products or we're testing something, we have the ability to get the data and decide whether or not we want to, go forward with a product recommendation that we think our consumers want, or whether it be the loyalty program. And there's opportunities with the point conversion or the offer received. We look and analyze this all the time, because ultimately we know, we live and die by the consumer at the end of the day.
Okay, great. The last question: had you heard of Loyalty 360 before we reached out to you?
I've seen articles published before. I can't say specifically I'm very knowledgeable about the company, but I am familiar with the brand.
Okay.
I have seen articles pop up on LinkedIn and various other sources previously.
All right. Well, the last question kind of follow up to that. What can we do for you, as a trade association for the industry, with members, both on the technology side and the brand side? And what can we do to help you with your journey?
I think, it's continuing to challenge brands to bring their best self to the table every single day. And I think the beauty, and I noticed this as I was kind of exploring your website a little bit more, is I love the ability to leverage learnings from other industries. And I think, one of the things that I sometimes fall privy to, or we fall privy to as an organization, is we're simply focused on restaurants. And we look at the restaurant space and we're like, okay, it's McDonald's that's doing it well. It's Starbucks, it's Chipotle. You continue to compare yourself to brands in the restaurant space, where I think lots of times you have the ability to look at other companies, whether it be in the travel industry or whether it be in retail, and you can really get a lot of interesting factoids to really apply to your program at the end of the day. And I think that's something that's fascinating, super cool, and we just need to do a better job of doing that.
Do you belong to any other kind of trade associations or kind of marketing groups that you work with?
Me personally, no. I would consider myself, though, a loyalty juggernaut. I am very, very fascinated by the space. I would say travel is my biggest biggest area where I say I spend a lot of time. I follow 1 mile at a time in the points guy, and really look to them to be my informant relative to what's happening promotion wise, personalization wise, best practices, etc. probably something that I need to, be more involved with. There's other things, other areas that I look to for inspiration. I have my grad school network. I went to Kellogg, and they're constantly at the cutting edge of marketing or finance or operations, and they're always willing to give their opinion and provide information from where they're working. So again, always just keep my eyes open and ears open.
Well, that's great. Well, Andy, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today. It's been very informative, and look forward to hearing more from you and your team throughout the next year.
Thanks. Great to be on the show. Thank you.
Perfect.